Halloween 6 wasn't just another sequel. At one point, it was almost called Halloween 666. It filmed endings with helicopters exploding in midair, and it even trapped Paul Rudd's first movie in delays so long that audiences thought Clueless was his debut. Behind the chaos, producers ripped pages out daily, and John Carpenter even joked about blasting Michael Myers into space. These are 10 creepiest facts about Halloween 6. The curse of Michael Myers, and hidden inside is the chilling truth that Jamie Lloyd's death was never meant to be a quick throwaway. Number 1. The lost endings that could have rewritten Halloween. Most films settle on one finale. Halloween 6 filmed at least 4. In one version, Dr. Loomis faced Michael head-on, only to meet a bloody fate. In another, a helicopter exploded after Tommy planted a bomb inside it. One cut even revealed young Danny standing catatonic, holding a knife like a child-sized Michael, and in the infamous producer's cut, the curse itself was passed on to Dr. Loomis, ending the story on a sinister cliffhanger. Each ending rewrote the mythology, leaving fans to argue for decades about which nightmare should have been canon. Number 2. Jamie's fate that could have been heroic. Jamie Lloyd had survived so much across the franchise that fans expected her to play a major role in this chapter. Originally, the script planned for her to guide the survivors through the underground tunnels of Smith's Grove, fighting until her last breath in a heroic sacrifice against Michael. It would have been the perfect farewell for a character audiences had grown to love. Instead, studio changes reduced her to an early casualty, gone within minutes. That choice didn't just shock fans, it robbed the story of the emotional weight it desperately needed. Number 3. Carpenter's space joke that almost happened. After Halloween 5, the rights to the franchise briefly slipped through the cracks. John Carpenter, the original creator, tried to get them back by teaming up with New Line Cinema. During that time, Carpenter made a tongue-in-cheek remark that if he got control, he'd send Michael Myers into space. It was meant as a joke, but the idea was so wild that even the Halloween 6 script couldn't resist poking fun at it. It's chilling to think how close Michael came to floating among the stars, decades before Jason actually did it in Jason X. Number 4. Donald Pleasence's unfinished goodbye. Donald Pleasence had carried the franchise on his shoulders as Dr. Loomis, the one man who never stopped warning the world about Michael Myers. Halloween 6 was meant to let him pass the torch to Paul Rudd's character Tommy Doyle, setting up a new protector for the future. But tragedy struck. Pleasence passed away before filming was complete. Scenes that should have given closure were either cut or unfinished, leaving his final performance fragmented. Instead of a graceful farewell, the legendary actor's swan song became another haunting piece of the film's cursed legacy. Number 5. The title war that never ended. Halloween 6 couldn't even settle on what to call itself. For a long stretch, it went by Halloween 666 with no subtitle at all. Then came Halloween: The Origin of Michael Myers, which made the film sound more like a documentary than a slasher. The version that finally stuck, The Curse of Michael Myers, was chosen almost as a joke. The writer tossed it in to describe the chaotic production, but a producer liked it so much that it became the official title. In the end, the curse wasn't just in the story, it was baked into the name. Number 6. Danielle Harris's heartbreaking rejection. For fans, the return of Jamie Lloyd seemed obvious. Danielle Harris, who had already carried the franchise through earlier sequels, wanted back in so badly that she went through a legal emancipation, just to be considered an adult and avoid child labor restrictions. That process alone cost her thousands of dollars, but when the studio offered her barely a fraction of that expense, around a week's pay that wouldn't even cover her legal fees, she had to walk away. Instead of rewarding her dedication, they wrote her character off quickly, robbing audiences of the reunion they had been waiting for. Number 7. A script shredded by its own makers. Most productions follow a script. Halloween 6 destroyed theirs on a daily basis. Director Joe Chappelle and producer Paul Freeman were notorious for rewriting and cutting scenes with no warning. Cast members would show up only to be told their parts were gone. Even Donald Pleasence's footage was slashed because the director considered it boring. The chaos got so bad that Miramax had to intervene, demanding reshoots after disastrous test screenings. For many, the real horror of Halloween 6 wasn't on screen, it was watching the story unravel behind the camera. Number 8. The radio host that never was. One of the strangest casting ideas came straight from the radio waves. The film's shock jock character was originally written for Howard Stern, with the script even naming him Harry Sims, the same initials. The producers reached out, but Stern never called back. When that failed, the writer pitched something even wilder, bringing in comedian Mike Myers to play a radio host in a movie about Michael Myers. Imagine the poster, Michael versus Mike. Of course, it never happened. But the fact that it was seriously considered shows just how desperate the production had become to grab attention. Number 9. Paul Rudd's cursed debut. Before he was charming audiences in Clueless, Paul Rudd was battling Michael Myers. Halloween 6 was actually his first feature film, but because the production dragged through endless rewrites and delays, Clueless reached theaters first. That twist of timing meant audiences thought his quirky teen comedy was his big debut, while his horror movie sat trapped in release limbo. For Rudd, it was a strange introduction to Hollywood. He went from horror screams to high school laughs in the same year, with one film forever cursed by the chaos of its own making. Number 10. A role written for Christopher Lee. The writer Danielle Harris had a dream casting in mind. Christopher Lee, the Gothic legend who defined Dracula and Hammer horror. He wrote the role of Dr. Wynn specifically for Lee, hoping his presence would add gravitas to the mystery. But when the idea reached producer Paul Freeman, it was dismissed with a shrug. Instead, the part went to Mitch Ryan, remembered more as the villain from Lethal Weapon than as horror royalty. Fans can only imagine how different and darker the movie might have felt if Lee had stepped into Michael's cursed world. The making of Halloween 6 was as messy and unpredictable as the curse at the center of its story. Cast members were pushed aside, scripts torn apart, and endings multiplied until no one knew which version would stick. Even legends like Donald Pleasence and Danielle Harris were caught in the storm, leaving behind what feels less like a finished film and more like fragments of a nightmare. Yet that chaos is also what keeps fans talking today, debating which cut is real and imagining what could have been if Christopher Lee or John Carpenter's space joke had come true. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments which version of Halloween 6 you wish had made it to theaters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss more creepy facts from horror history.